if you're gonna give us a proprietary index that's hypothetically back tested, and I can't understand, and you won't explain to me how it works, to me that feels pretty close to a black box. Welcome to How to Retire on Time, the show that answers your retirement questions. We're here to move past the oversimplified advice that you've heard 100 times. Instead, we're going to get into the nitty gritty because the truth is there's no such thing as a perfect investment product or strategy. Heck, there's no such thing as a riskless retirement. That's why it's so important to put together a retirement plan, one that's right for you, that's designed to last longer than you. That's why we do this show. Text your questions to 913-363-1234, and we'll feature them on the show. David, what do we got today?
Hey, Mike, which is better, dynamic indexes that change with the markets or static indexes that don't really change?
Yeah, so an index, in my definition, is just a lot of something.
Okay.
So think of a lot of stocks,
All right.
or you've got a lot of stocks and funds, bond funds. You got a lot of something in there. Okay, a lot of commodity exposure, a lot of there's maybe gold and silver. There's just a lot of securities
All right.
in some sort of ticker that you can buy. Well, not really that in that. An index is kind of the definition of what is for this group or this system. The tickers or the investments are funds that will try to match that index or
Okay.
that definition, that strategy, that baseline, that benchmark.
Okay.
So let me give an example. You cannot invest in the S&P 500. What you can do is you can invest in an ETF or a mutual fund that seeks to mimic the performance of the S&P 500. Do you see the difference?
Yeah, and how do they do that though? What do they do to mimic the performance?
Yeah, it's just
witchcraft?
replication techniques. They'll just take it and they'll basically invest as closely as it's currently allocated,
Okay.
and then they'll make slight adjustments to it or try to lower their fees as much as possible because they have to get paid
Yeah.
to do this, but they're trying to net of their fee match the performance of the index. Okay.
So if the index grows 16% in 1 year or 1 month, whatever, they're trying to match.
They're trying to match that.
Okay.
Yep. So that is a static index, kind of.
Okay.
The S&P 500 actually changes all the time. So the bottom, 100, those stocks can come in and out of the S&P 500. The top ones pretty much stay in there for a while, for long term. Like they don't really change. I don't see Apple ever leaving the S&P 500.
Right.
Okay. So that's more of a static index. When I define static as it's not really moving a lot. It's kind of boring in a good way. Then you've got, other statics, the Russell 2000, you've got the Dow Jones Industrial, you've got the NASDAQ 100. These are, for the most part, just it is. Buy and hold. As of late, I say late, really in the last decade that I've noticed, there's been, and this has been true for as long as I can think of, there are indexes that are built around an algorithm or a formula or a philosophy.
All right.
Okay. So this is now the dynamic side of things. So it might be that this is an index that daily rebalances. So every day they then go back to a certain rebalanced formula. So if some stocks go this way or that way, they keep things pretty tight. That's different than buy and hold like the S&P 500, which is what we're used to. Okay. That's the daily rebalance. There are some indexes to where, based on certain metrics or indicators, they might rebalance to commodities, and then they might go over to the American market, and then they might go to the European market, or they might then go to the Japanese market in different places. So it's a dynamic index, and you think of it as back in the day, we had money managers, mutual funds, to where they were kind of making adjustments. These are ETFs or indexes that are more technologically built around something. There's still a manager making decisions, but it's more on systems that can shift things around. Are you with me so far? This is a little bit more technical.
Yeah, it sounds like it's in the name, right? Dynamic, so it can change on a dime, right?
Yeah. So the reason why this is an interesting question is because of something called hypothetical performance.
Okay.
Dynamic indexes are often launched with marketing material around the hypothetical, what it would have done. Well, that's nice, but past performance is not indicative of future returns or future potential or future growth. So what would have happened, back tested, hindsight's 2020, doesn't guarantee that that's going to continue to happen. And so there are a lot of indexes. Specifically, I see this a lot in the insurance business because when you buy like life insurance, for example, like Index Universal Life, which is around an index, or you buy an annuity, which is allocated around an index, they will create new indexes that look really, really good. But then they launch them, and then you're invested in them. And then what happens? Reality sets in. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And I'm not suggesting that insurance companies are out to make bad performing indexes. That's not the case at all. They actually put a lot of money into these indexes to try and make high performing, low cost ways to invest your money to grow it. They want to grow your money. But it's really difficult to do. I mean, extremely. I think quantum physics might be easier than trying to get something like this in order.
Just because of the why? Because of the unknowns of what the market's going to do?
Well, markets are emotional.
Yeah.
It's based on human sentiment. It's based on human invention. It's based on humans. How predictable is that? I mean, last time I checked, physics doesn't change, but humans are all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, how do you quantify that? Let's say it's 1995. How do you quantify that in 15 years or so, people are going to start getting really greedy and manipulate the housing market? You know, the boring old mortgage-backed security.
Yeah.
And that they're going to create synthetic securities around this so that it creates this explosion, and that creates then eventually, you know, more than 10 years later, but 2008, the financial crisis. How do you put that into your equation?
Sure.
Right? So very difficult to do. And the reason why I think this is interesting is there are people today that I have met, I'm not saying this is everyone, that have been sold an insurance product that they believe will almost keep up or outperform the market. It's like, oh, this thing is so great. I mean, it's getting, and don't quote me on this, I'm being hyperbolic here. I'm exaggerating, okay?
Okay.
Not quoting performance from anyone. But oh, this annuity is getting like 12 to 13% year over year. That's sustainable. That's going to keep happening. No, it's not. Please, no, it's not. So you have to be really careful about the hypothetical black box indexes because they're new. They're not tested that well. I mean, they're tested extensively, but it's still the future performance. You just got to be very careful about these things.
And why do we call it a black box? Because we don't know the exact formula? Or
Yeah, they never really disclosed their proprietary systems.
Oh.
So black box, that's the oldest con. It's literally like fairs. I don't know. Like you think of like the 1920s, like Buster Keaton time.
Okay.
Right? Hey, come over here. Like, look at this black box. There's something really special inside. But hey, can't show you. But if you put your money in here now, you'll share in the prize.
Oh.
You know, and you got that like, hey, shmee, or whatever however they talk back then. I don't know. But like,
this is where we need Conan O'Brien's voice. He does good at that. Yeah.
But like back in these fairs, these con artists would create a black box. And I'm not calling insurance companies con artists.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm not, but the expression comes back from people getting conned. So if you're going to give us a proprietary index that's hypothetically back tested, and I can't understand, and you won't explain to me how it works, to me that feels pretty close to a black box. Now I know that regulators have to go through it, and that regulators are okay with it, but I'm not a regulator.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. So I get very uncomfortable when there's a black box that I can't explain. So there are a lot of products out there, especially in the investment or insurance space, that look really, really good. But I'm going, I don't know about this. Can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah, please.
This is a true story.
Okay.
The names and places have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, good.
There was a new product. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay.
That was being marketed heavily. A lot of money went into the product. Like this company spent a lot of money trying to create a really nice product for people. They, I believe, genuinely wanted to do right for the investor. Okay. Came across my desk, and I'll look at anything. I want to know if it's good or bad. I want to know what's out there. Spent a lot of time researching new offerings because I don't want to be the guy that says, oh, I didn't know, I got lazy. So I spend a lot of time with this stuff. So I'm looking at it, I'm going, this thing can't make more than 4%. Why would I invest in it? Why would I recommend client companies? Oh, but no, it's great. It's consistent. It's this, it's amazing. And then like they quote some PhD that's behind it and some whatever study or whatever. And it's just amazing. I say, it's a black box here, but I based on what I'm reading, what I'm seeing here, this thing can't make more than 4%. So I talked to the sales rep. He gets exhausted. So then I talk to the sales rep's regional manager, whatever. He gets exhausted. Then I get some VP on the phone around this product, and he gets exhausted with my questions because they can't answer them. They can't answer my questions. Then it eventually gets to the guy that invented the index that then supports the product from a very large company. If I said the name, you would know who they are. If I said the company that then supported the index, you would know who it is. After 45 minutes of just asking questions, trying to understand it, I don't know how I even got his attention. Like the fact that he even took my call is pretty cool, but he spent 45 minutes with me. And eventually he said, yeah, what do you expect it to do? I said, thank you for admitting that.
Yeah.
And eventually then I've never recommended that product. That happens more often than I think people realize. And I think that financial professionals may not all realize that as well. There are some that are jaded in the business. There are some that are looking up bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Oh, this thing's amazing. They fixed it. You don't fix economic theory. You don't hack the system on a set-it-and-forget-it index strategy. I don't care how smart people are. The dynamic nature of the markets cannot be hacked. So, yeah, when you look at alternative indexes or dynamic indexes or things like that, it doesn't make them bad. It means maybe you should give them some time to prove their worth. Yes. We right now use some dynamic indexes in some of our clients' portfolios with certain investments or products. But I can look at them and say, oh, this is how they act in the crash, and actually point to historical performance. I can explain how they work. I understand it. There's been enough real-time data to validate it. So we don't want to go in this absolute camp of no dynamic or no index or whatever it is. It's just be skeptical of one, back-tested performance, and two, if it's too confusing of a black box, proceed with caution. That is how it has to be treated, in my opinion. I do like static indexes because they also work and they're easier to predict when you're looking at projections for a client, when you're looking at possibilities or probability. Because when you add too many variables to the equation, it gets more complicated. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Make sure that you like and subscribe first, and then go to www.retireontime.com to grab a copy of my book, How to Retire on Time, take a few courses about retirement, join my newsletter, and so much more. Now, if you want to work with one of our advisors here at Kedrick Wealth, who can help you put together a retirement plan that's designed to last longer than you, just click the button, Get Started. Everything we do is intended to help you retire on time. We hope you enjoy, and we'll see you in the next show.